Hey guys, it's your boy Tech Flash here, and after yesterday's unboxing video, today we have an even more interesting one, which will be a comparison between the iPhone 13 Pro Max and the iPhone 12 Pro Max. The first thing you can see right away is the notch, which is the biggest giveaway of both phones when holding them to the front. On paper, the notch is about 20% smaller, but side by side, it does make a significant difference. If we look at both devices from the side, there is a slight difference in the positioning of the SIM slot. Apart from that, the button placement is exactly the same. On the back side as well, apart from the camera bump, there is no difference. From far away, you won't really be able to tell which is the 13 and which is the 12 unless you hold them together and compare them. Also, the Apple logo on the 13 has very slightly increased, and on the bottom again, no difference at all. On the other side as well, the button placement on the 13 and the 12 is exactly the same. So design wise, pretty much I would say about 90% is the same as the iPhone 12 Pro Max. On the inside, the iPhone 13 Pro Max now comes with the new A15 Bionic, which is actually available across all of the iPhone 13 lineup. And we did go ahead and run an Antutu benchmark test just to see what the difference would be between the A14 and the A15. And as you can probably see, there is a massive difference. The iPhone 13 Pro Max was able to score above 800,000 points, whereas the iPhone 12 Pro Max with the A14 scored about 720,000 points. And if we look at the CPU scores as well, you can see a huge difference in the points, and even the GPU has a huge difference, which proves that the A15 is a lot more of an efficient chip than the A14. We will be doing other tests as well, but before I go into that, I want to do some basic ones, starting with the Bootup test. I'm going to go ahead and turn both of these phones off and then restart them at the same time in 3, 2, 1, and on. Okay, so the iPhone 13 already shows the Apple logo. And about, I would say, maybe 8 to 10 seconds later, we can also see the iPhone 12 with the Apple logo starting up. And they're both on now, and I would say that they're more or less very similar. There was only a few seconds difference. The next test will be done on some of the apps, where I will check how long it takes certain apps to open up, and starting with the clock app, and again, more or less very similar timings on both. Next, we go to the settings app, and a very similar score again. Now let's try the camera, and I think this time the 13 Pro Max actually took a little bit longer than the 12 Pro Max, but only by a couple of milliseconds. And comparing the cameras on both of them side by side, you will actually be able to tell that the iPhone 13 has better colors due to the better camera and the new chip. Another thing as well here is that under video, now we get a whole new category, which is the cinematic mode, which is available only on the iPhone 13. And this is basically a video bokeh feature, which gives you the ability to provide a background blur to your videos. Also, the cinematic mode only works either on your main camera or the portrait camera. This will not work on the optical zoom camera. And talking about the optical zoom camera, this year on the new iPhone, you also have a little bit of a difference there. On the iPhone 12 Pro Max, you can only get option of 2.5 times zoom, whereas on the 13 Pro Max, you now have the option of 3 times zoom. Another major difference is on the picture side of things. You now have the option of stacks, which basically gives you a preview of what a photo would look like with a certain filter, and it gives you a ton of options where you can change the tone and other settings of your choice. And an interesting thing here is that the name of the filter also changes as you change the settings. So if you have a warmer tone on, and if you change the settings to a warmer side, you will actually see the name change as well on the filter. And again, this is an option that isn't available on the iPhone 12 Pro Max. The next test may be the most important test, and that is going to be done on the Face ID, and I'm interested to see if there's any difference because of the smaller notch. I don't assume any changes, but there is a possibility because Apple had to rearrange the complete setup and the mechanics for the smaller notch. Now, if I raise them initially, there is no change. It was more or less about the same thing, but I'm going to slow down a bit and try and change the angle just to check if there's any difference. And no difference again, very similar, both opened up at the same time. So I guess the mechanics still work exactly the same way on the iPhone 13 and the iPhone 12 Pro Max, no difference whatsoever there. One other thing which I thought was very interesting was that if we go on the settings and if I go into the display settings, there is no option to change the refresh rate. However, if you look closer, you can actually see some lines through the camera, which is happening due to the 120 Hz display on the 13 Pro Max. And you can actually tell that there's a huge difference in both. The iPhone 12 Pro Max is scrolling at 60 Hz, which is half the difference. So there's a significant change in the way the iPhone 13 Pro display behaves. Next up, I have installed the PUBG on both the phones, and the interesting thing is that the resolution on both is actually different, and that has in part to do with the fact that the notch is smaller and we get just a bit more screen real estate, and that actually causes it to change the way it looks. Also, if we go into the settings on the 12 Pro Max, you get the maximum settings at Ultra HD with the ultra frame rate, and the same thing on the 13 Pro Max, but you won't get the extreme frame rate at the moment, which may have to do with the app having to be uploaded to be adjusted to the notch. Another small change is on the wallpapers. So if we look at the wallpapers, you have the option of a few new ones. Now these are not specific to iOS 15, but actually specific to the iPhone 13 Pro Max. So you won't be able to see these even if you update the 12 Pro Max to iOS 15. And that is pretty much it when it comes to the comparison. If you ask me, there isn't much of a change in both phones. I myself am a 12 Pro Max user, and I also didn't feel much of a difference, nor do I feel the urge to upgrade. But if you are into cameras and really want to see a change in camera, then maybe go ahead and get it, because that is where the biggest changes were applied. The colors, the new camera system paired with the A15 Bionic are doing wonders. Anyways guys, that is it for today. If you enjoyed the video, please make sure to drop a like, subscribe if you haven't already, because we will be doing more tests and comparisons, so please make sure to stay tuned for that. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.